Hi guys, this is Carla here, and this weekend I had the chance to finally go watch the second movie in the Maze Runner series, which was the Scorch Trials. Now, if you've heard or listened to my Scorch Trials book review, you'll know that was I was kind of so on the book. I didn't hate it. I liked it more than I thought I would, but it still didn't blow me away or anything. So I was cautiously awaiting for the movie. And before I went in, I watched all the trailers because I hadn't been watching them before until I read the book because I didn't want to have anything spoiled for me. So I watched all the trailers, and the feeling I got was that it was going to be pretty different from the book, which I wasn't opposed to because I know the book had a lot of weaknesses that I felt the movie could maybe work on to make it better. So I went in to watch the movie. I was pretty excited about it because I had heard that it was very action packed, and I liked that because I felt the book was kind of slow at parts, so I liked that they were trying to amp up the action on it. I'm not normally a fan of action, but I felt this time it was needed a bit. So I went in and I was pretty excited to see it, and honestly, I really liked it. I walked out of the theater really happy because I think the changes. I mean, it was very loosely based on the book. Like they changed a lot of stuff. So if you're a book purist, you may not be as happy with it as I am, but I thought the book needed some changes in the adaptation because for all the reasons I explained before. So I thought the changes they made were actually pretty good. They made sense. So I was very happy with it, to be honest. I, I mean, there were some things they changed that I didn't like. Like, for example, the zombies were very much zombies. Like, they didn't even come across as sick people, really. They just came across as straight out zombies. So it felt like more of a zombie movie. And I don't necessarily like zombie movies. It's just not my thing. So I was kind of iffy about that, but at the same time, the zombies really helped the action like bulk up. So, and there were some really great scenes while they were running away from the zombies, like the whole sequence that you can see in the trailers with Brenda falling into the glass and then the zombie trying to grab at her and Thomas kind of pulling her up before the glass breaks. That was awesome. That was an awesome sequence, and I have to give props to the visual effects people because that was fantastic. Like I wasn't even watching it in like IMAX or 3D. It was just regular 2D screen, and I felt like I was almost about to fall. So that was great. And another thing to give props to the visual effects people is the whole cityscape, like when they get out of the facility, of the Wicked facility, and they just come across this totally desolate, destroyed, dilapidated city. That looked amazing. Like I sat there just thinking, wow, this is what Divergent was trying to be and didn't actually make it. So I really liked it. Felt like they were in the middle of a desert, just powdered with dilapidated cities all around. I really liked the look of it, the feel of it. I mean, I just sat there thinking, oh my god, I would never want to be in this place. And that, I think, is what the book was supposed to make me feel. So I think that was one great thing that they did. Apart from that, I didn't like that it felt a bit less science fiction-y to me. There was a part at the beginning of the book when they actually escape the facility, or they leave in the book. They don't really escape; they just leave. When they leave the facility, and the part where the Winston thing, and it felt very science fiction-y in the book, and I liked that scene. I loved that scene. So I was a little bummed that it wasn't included in the movie, but again, if you're trying to make it into more of a zombie thing, I guess I can see why and it's a scene that could have been either really great or really, really cheesy. So, I'm glad they decided to switch it up, even if I would have liked to see it. Just everything in it. The casting of Aidan Gillen as Radface. I mean, come on, has there ever been more perfect casting? I mean, people would complain that, of course, it's Aidan Gillen, so you assume that he's gonna be a bad guy from the beginning, even if he's trying to portray himself as good. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't supposed to be a big secret that he was evil. They let you know about that pretty early on, and in the movie. So, yeah, it wasn't really supposed to be a big twist. Even in the trailers, he's presented as someone who's like telling Thomas and his gang that they can't escape and whatever. So he wasn't meant to really be seen as a good person at the beginning. So I didn't mind, but I mean, come on, you cast Aidan Gillen as Ratface. It's perfect. He's the first person that crosses everybody's mind when you think of someone named Ratface. So I mean, not to say that he's not a good-looking dude. He is, but come on, he has that look. So that was incredible as far as I'm concerned. I really like the changes that they made as for the characters' motivations. Like, I think it's a lot better for them to want to escape the Wicked facility because they're afraid of Wicked than because Wicked tells them to, like it happens in the book. In the book, it was all very, very, I don't know, they felt like they had no choice because Wicked had supposedly infected them, but they didn't really try to look for any other solution. So I like this. I felt like in the book, Thomas and crew made a lot of decisions that that should have been better because they were informed decisions. Like, they knew they knew a lot more, and yet they made wrong decisions. So I like that in this, it really felt like they were completely on their own with no information whatsoever, and that's why, I mean, they still didn't make the right decisions necessarily, but at least they had an excuse, a better excuse. I liked that. I loved that they gave a motivation to Teresa for her turn. It was a good one, not like in the book where it was just like they told me to do it and I did it and now we're good again, except you're really not. It was a better motivation for her. I also liked Brenda a lot more than I did in the book. I mean, of course she still has the thing with Thomas, but it's not as blatant. I mean, she's not throwing herself at him 5 seconds after they meet. So I liked her a lot better, and I want to see what they do with her in the sequel. I really liked it. In the book, like, there was a lull when they got to the city and they met Jorge and Brenda. That part for me in the movie was also like the slowest part. Like, I didn't care as much, and Jorge, he was kind of funny in a way that he shouldn't have been, I guess. Like, I don't know if I could really take him seriously until the end. Like, when he did in the end of the movie, then that's when I started taking him seriously, but before, yeah. So that, I guess, but it was like that in the book, so it didn't really matter to me that much. But I mean, it's not a perfect movie. There were some parts where it still lulled for me, some parts where I just went like, why the heck would you do that? But overall, I really do think that I like the movie experience more than the book experience. I think the movie made a lot more sense. It felt less sci-fi and more post-apocalyptic in a way, which I don't necessarily like the zombie thing, but I thought it was a good idea, so it wouldn't veer off into cheesy territory. Like in the first movie, when they stopped, when they didn't adapt the whole telepathy thing between Thomas and Teresa, I liked that because I felt it was something that could have gone really wrong really easily. And it's the same with the sci-fi elements in this one, so I didn't mind too much. I liked what they did with the characters, with Thomas, with Teresa. The one thing I missed was the kind of the labels they had on them, the tattoos. I like that they weren't exactly tattoos, they were just marks that had to be scanned. I like that, but I didn't like that they never found out. I was hoping that they would mention Minot being the leader and Teresa being the betrayer, and maybe not that one because I didn't want Thomas to know. I thought it was fine the way they did it, but Thomas being labeled to be killed, that sort of stuff, I thought it would have been a psychological element that would have added to it, but I didn't necessarily need it in a way. I really liked the movie. I liked it way better than the book, and this is rare because I'm very much a book fangirl, and I'm usually of the mind that the movie being an adaptation is never as good as the book, but in this case I actually really did like it better than the book. And I'm curious as to how they're going to move on with the third movie, given that the endings are so different. Like, seriously, they're gonna have to make major rewrites to actually get to the point where they can tell the same story. But at this point, I just don't mind. I trust Wes Ball and his team. I think they're doing a great job with the movie in making up for the pitfalls of the books, and taking what made the books great and putting it on screen. I get the feeling that a lot of reviewers out there, I haven't read any reviews because, like I said, I was trying to avoid spoilers because I hadn't read the book yet. So I tried to avoid reviews, but I did walk out of the theater feeling that reviewers were probably going to have a case of, sequelitis with this, like middle child in the franchise syndrome, much like they did with, for example, Mockingjay Part 1, that it feels incomplete, kind of. It feels like it's just 2 hours of advertising that there's another movie after this, and it's true, it does, but the book was exactly the same as well, so I don't necessarily blame the movie for that. So I guess I can understand why the scores are lower for this movie. The review scores are lower for this movie, despite it being more action-packed, which is usually the opposite. But I don't know, I like the movie. I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with what Wes Ball and his team have done with it. The performances were great. I mean, Dylan O'Brien is a gem. He's the perfect Thomas. I loved Kai Scodelario, and none of them let me down. It was great to see Rosa Salazar actually having lines, and the ladies from Group B, Harriet and Sonia, they were great. I mean, they weren't there for long, but they made an impact in my mind. Like, Harriet is badass. I love her, and I want to see more of her in the next movie. So hopefully that will happen, and I'm really happy with this movie. I know that maybe a lot of people aren't, whether it was because they were book purists or because they were just reviewers that didn't like the fact that it sort of doesn't have an end. But I really liked it, and I feel it's worth a shot for people who read the book if they can understand the changes made, if they can be open-minded about it. It's a really good experience, and this is coming from someone who does not watch zombie movies, so if I liked it despite the zombies, that's saying something. So that's it for my review. I will see you in the next one, which should be around later on for TV shows, so bye.